Today on the Nerdiest podcast, we'll be talking about one of the biggest movies of the year, Wicked for Good, but also giving a review of what turned out to be a better movie, Zootopia 2, and also digging into the Netflix and Warner Brothers merger with a special guest. You will not want to miss it. Hello and welcome to the Nerdiest Podcast, a show where nerds talk about nerdy things. As always, I'm one of your hosts, Mr. Jackson Glass, and today we are digging into what we thought would be one of the biggest movies of the year, Wicked for Good. And I would say that it is, but we're also going to talk about what ended up being the actual biggest movie of the year, Zootopia 2, giving our thoughts. Also, there's some huge news that we just couldn't miss up on, and that is the Warner Brothers Netflix deal that is we're just going to get into in a minute. And today I'm joined not by Nick with no K, as always. I'm joined by a very special guest that I'm very excited about, my lovely wife, Amy. Amy.
Hey everybody, I am the Amy Glass.
Thank you so much for joining us today. This is her podcast debut.
It is. I have never been on a podcast before, so
this is very exciting.
This is very much a new experience for me. So going out of my comfort zone. But in a way, I feel like I'm in the best podcast I could be in because I am also, like Jackson and Nick, a nerd.
Yes.
So I kind of fit in here.
We're very excited.
I'm on my first podcast. I'm the best one I could be on. So
very glad you're here. We also brought Amy on because she is a Broadway expert, as I would consider her.
Yes. Yes.
And we felt like Wicked was a wonderful time to bring this up. So before we get into anything, let me ask you. Also, if you're watching on the video, we're sitting on our couch right now. This is just going to be super cash. You may have just heard our dryer finish.
Yeah, that was mine.
And you know what? It's fine.
It was my laundry.
It's gonna be great. We're doing it live. Amy, let me just ask you this as a new friend of the show. You know, we did have a policy that was podcast guest is a wife privilege, as you know. And so as the first person to exert this privilege, I will say thank you for being here. And also just a little like context to you. What do you feel like would be your specialty? Like if you could give a 3-hour presentation like on like some nerdy thing that you just like could dig into immediately, what would you say is your specialty?
Probably music, honestly. That or Disney World. Like if I could give you like guide to just going through Disney and exploring all the things. I try to do that to my coworkers a lot. Like one of my coworkers, I was like, you're only an hour away from Disney. Here's all the things you can do for almost free. So you can see a fireworks show for free.
Right.
So I probably could go through Disney World and like just give top pointers and things to do because I love travel. So I could talk about that for a really long time, probably too long. And also just music in general. So like Jackson said earlier, I absolutely love music and I love Broadway specifically. And no, I was never a theater kid, actually. I've never been in a musical, never acted, never sang in front of people. That was never my scene. But I absolutely love music. So anything from rock and roll. My dad does Rock 101 growing up with us. So we always had to know the rock star and what they were singing. So anything from rock to jazz. We had a jazz band at our wedding. So that was per request of me. That was a dream come true. And any kind of music. So big genre, any genre. Yeah. But Broadway specifically is my kind of,
I guess, niche.
Just because I love it. It's storytelling at its finest. Sometimes at its worst too. So that's always interesting to see. But I absolutely love just the storytelling and how powerful the music can be. It's great to just turn on and hear a story be told to you. And I love storytelling. So, yeah.
I don't think you're selling yourself short because one of the first things that was attractive to you from my perspective was your Star Wars knowledge.
That is, yeah, there's that too. like I said, it's nerdiness all around.
Yes.
So yeah, I mean, I would say I'm very rusty on my Star Wars knowledge now. But back in the day,
It used to be so much easier to be a Star Wars fan. Though.
yeah, and now there's too many things, and I'm just like, being a full-time working adult and married and with all the other stuff going on, I just have kind of gone rusty on that skill. So I'm a little behind. I haven't seen all the shows. I've seen Ahsoka. I haven't seen Andor yet. Everybody says, Amy, you'll love Andor. You got to watch it. So, I'm a little behind. But, yeah, I used to know all the Star Wars trivia when, it was just like the movies and
like
the Clone Wars and all that. Yeah, I love the Clone Wars. So trying to get Jackson to watch
Amy's
it with
on
me
the
one
effort
day.
to get me to watch it.
Even if it's just the last, just the key parts with Ahsoka in the last season, I'll take what I can get. But we'll
Very
see.
good. Very good.
We'll see what happens.
Well, before we get too far, I will. There was some incredible news that I was not intending to cover on this episode, and we will probably continue to follow this news as it develops. And I know Nick will want to talk about it as well. But in a just crazy turn of events at the end of the year, this like Q4 2025, Netflix announces its bid for Warner Brothers Studios.
That's wild to me.
That's insane. And
he told me that this morning, and I was like, "That's actually
well."
Crazy.
You also think about like old Hollywood and like the studio system. Like we just live in remediation because it's like, oh, we're consolidating, and then we expand to 100 studios, and then we consolidate to 4, and then we expand. So there's a lot of questions about monopoly law going on this merger. But I wrote down a couple stats just so we could go on. And essentially, I have not heard why Warner Brothers was up for sale in the first place. I think we all kind of picked up on them struggling financially for the last 10 years.
Yeah, it's been a struggle bust, and some of the movies they've come out with have not been,
right,
super successful.
And
so
then
I'm not
also,
totally shocked.
Well, they also keep writing them off for tax reasons, and I'm like, well, maybe you could
I'll
make
do it to you.
a profit if you actually released your movie. So essentially they were like, we can't keep going. I don't know if they were on Facebook Marketplace or I don't even know how this happened at all. This is just so outside of my brain. But Netflix has Warner Brothers has accepted Netflix's bid, and Netflix will be taking over Warner Brothers at an $82 billion price tag.
I can't even imagine that
Billion with a
money.
B. Billion with a B.
Can't even imagine.
Also understand this deal might take 2+ years to complete. Because if you think about when Disney bought 20th Century Fox, it was a year and a half before that was.
Oh, that's right. That's how they own Anastasia now.
Yes.
That's the only reason I know that. Yeah, I like that movie.
See, nerdy.
Nerdy.
There was.
Sorry.
Most people are like The Simpsons.
Out myself on the Nerdiest podcast as a nerd.
Most people are like, yeah, I guess they own The Simpsons. And she's like, no, Anastasia. That's.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Goes back to the music.
That deal took over a year and a half to complete. And this one is just even bigger in scope than that one. And so it might take 2 years. Netflix did state that HBO Max will stay separate with some titles filtering through Netflix. So they're not trying to make the giga streaming platform where Netflix and HBO combine. I don't buy it. I will believe it when I see it. It's really easy to say that, but then when that price tag comes in, I'm sure they might take it. And we are genuinely looking at a future where Netflix could cost $50 to $80 a month. Yeah. So
it's already too expensive.
It's already too expensive
for what it is.
Yeah.
But granted, I watch it more than any other streaming platform. So
which is so frustrating because Netflix is the only one cracking down on households. They're the only one raising prices, but they genuinely have a great catalog right now.
They do. And it all the cheesy Christmas movies.
Yes.
That's where I'm at right now.
Cheesy Christmas movies. Stranger Things season 5 is killing it right now. They're getting a lot more foreign stuff coming in.
K-pop demon
hunters. We love some K-pop demon hunters. They also said that David Zaslav will remain the CEO of Warner Brothers. And
Wonder how that works.
That's what I'm thinking. Because it's like, why are we doing the deal if it's just going to keep the same? And it is, they said that David Zaslav will stay over it, which, you know, I cannot stand him. And so I'm done with that. James Gunn and Peter Safran will remain over DC. So like nothing's changing. Netflix says theater releases will remain with a limited window. I'll come back to that. So the question is like, why are they even doing a deal if everyone's staying in the same positions? And really it comes down to the IP library, because if you think about the history of Netflix from day one, their biggest struggle was they didn't have any content. Was they didn't have original things that were bringing them to the platform. That's why Stranger Things was such a big deal, because they were an outsourcer of other studios' content. That was their deal. And so when the streaming war started and Disney came in swinging, and they had Marvel and they had National Geographic and they had Pixar and they had Disney's animation studio and they had all these things, it was like Netflix was going to get left behind. And so Netflix originals started coming out. That's why we have Stranger Things. That's how we have Squid Games. That's how we have like K-pop Demon Hunters and all this stuff. Well, now, if this deal goes through, keep in mind, this may not even like happen, because you know how these things
Anything
work.
can change.
Anything,
these things.
Literally, it's going to, anyway. Everyone's going to buy everyone, and then it's not going to work out. And we're going to be like, remember when that was a thing? But essentially, they will own... They're going to own Friends, which is the biggest sitcom in history. Yeah.
Really?
They're going to own Friends. They're going to own Harry Potter.
There's a lot under
There's
Warner
a lot.
Brothers.
They're going to own Looney
really
Tunes.
Is. Looney Tunes?
They're going to own all the Looney Tunes.
So is this all going to come on Netflix?
They're saying no.
Oh.
They're saying it's...
See,
because the only thing more expensive than Netflix is HBO.
I would watch
They're claiming that the HBO name will still remain. And that it's going to stay separate. But it's just with some titles filtering in and out of Netflix like they always have. But I'm just like, I don't believe that, because Netflix historically has not done that. And they claim the biggest question was that, well, Warner Brothers distributes to theaters and Netflix doesn't. So like, are we only going to get Warner Brothers movies exclusively on streaming? And they claim that they're still interested in the theater business.
Yeah, I would be really surprised if they completely went out of the theater business, just because, you know, say they make another Harry Potter spinoff movie again, you know, like something in that universe. Like, I would be shocked if it only went on streaming. Like, I know they're making that new TV show, but a Harry Potter movie and not to go to theaters or something like that. I mean, I would be really surprised.
Well, that's the other thing, is like Netflix has recently been very interested in the theater business because K-pop.
I mean, I saw my first Netflix movie in theaters.
We saw K-pop Demon Hunters in theaters Halloween weekend.
It was great.
And it was like, I mean, that first weekend release, it dominated the box office.
Wasn't it the sing-along we saw?
It was the sing-along.
Yeah, I don't think I realized that till we got there. I was like, oh. But it was only us in the theater.
We were the only ones in the theater, and we sang along.
We did.
But it was like, also the Stranger Things finale is freaking 3 hours long, by the way. And it's going to theaters New Year's Eve.
Oh, wow.
And theaters are completely sold out.
That's wild.
Now. And so Netflix sees value in the movie theater industry. So I don't know. I think there's an interesting conversation to be had. Update to follow. That's pretty much all we know right now. I think my theory is that Netflix prices are going to be through the roof. We're gonna probably. I'm calling like 2027. We're gonna see like Netflix maybe $50 to $70 a month.
That's wild. Isn't it at 17 right now?
I think it's 17 right
17?
now. And then is that the
that.
family price, or is that the?
Who knows?
Because their whole household system is just bull.
Because we try to do the family thing, and I keep getting booted off.
I have like 3 different Netflix accounts that I have to rotate.
I just want to watch my Christmas movie.
And
Let me watch my Christmas.
And there's even like senators are already talking about this. Like Elizabeth Warren gave this huge speech about how she's like, this is already a really bad idea.
Wow.
She's like, this is going to take away so many jobs. It's going to just completely remove, like, essentially, like, this is an anti-monopoly nightmare. And I think she's right.
Yeah.
And so, I don't know. Update to follow. That's pretty much all we know right now. But just $82 billion studio acquisition is just so outside of my psyche. I can't even comprehend.
And those are two
that.
things I don't even see going together. Like back in the day, you'd never be like, oh yeah, they're gonna merge, and
right,
you know, one will buy the other, even though Warner Brothers has been struggling.
Right. I was hoping Universal would step in because they also had a bid. And
which
I think
would make sense, actually. That would make more sense.
It would make way more sense because of the Comcast connection. And everyone was hoping that, like, we would get, you know, like park perks from DC characters and, you know, Looney Tunes stuff at Universal and all this, I guess, like, so that was the hope. But no, Netflix was...
I beat him to it.
And then Paramount, I watched this whole thing. I learned so much today, guys. Paramount was also had a bid, but a lot of people were really upset about and hoping they wouldn't get it because Paramount apparently has been working really close with the Trump administration and said that they have been talking to them about influencing their future projects, and that they're making a Rush Hour 4 at the request of Trump. And that...
That's wild. How on earth...
I was just like...
How? I mean, I know politics and the entertainment industry have always been intertwined.
Right, they go hand in hand.
But I'm also like, why? Like, why can't we just watch a movie?
Right. It's like... So essentially, we were moving
crazy.
towards government-controlled media. And so... But I'll honestly, like, if they truly wanted it, like, Trump would have funded their price tag. And so
yeah, he probably could have paid for it with cash, honestly.
Yeah, no, for real. He's like, I washed my face with $82 billion. But yeah, so update to follow on that. In other movie news, fascinating things is that one of our most anticipated movies of the year had come out.
Long awaited. Very long awaited.
And that was Zootopia 2,
Yay.
Which was hilarious because that's like your favorite movie was Zootopia.
Yeah, it really is. It's Zootopia. The first Zootopia is in like my top 5 favorite movies of all time. Like, love it. Absolutely love it. But I will say my anticipation leading up to the second movie was more fear than excitement. I mean, my expectations were incredibly, incredibly low. Like, I was like, if this movie is terrible, I'm just going to be so sad.
Right.
Because I already knew Wicked was coming out, this part 2, and we'll talk a little bit about that later.
Yes.
So I was super excited about that. I knew that would be great, but I was like, but Zootopia. I was like, this can't be bad. But I think it's going to be bad because, yeah, my expectations couldn't have been lower.
Yes.
So
yes.
They were as bottom of the totem pole as it could be. So I was very worried.
If you want to know the extent of our Zootopia fandom, we bought pre-release tickets a month in advance.
Yes. I was so ready.
We were ready. We were in the dead center. Also, like, sidebar, we were in the theater, and next to us was like this mom and 2 kids. And this young couple comes in like during the trailers, and they were like, "Hey, these are our seats. Like, we got those." And I don't know what she said. I don't know. She was essentially just like, "Oh, I'm sorry," and didn't move. And then the couple was like really awkward.
Yeah, and they were younger too, so they didn't seem like they would be as
they weren't very confrontational.
They didn't have kids or anything,
right.
so they're like, "Well,
okay,
it's probably fine."
And they moved. And I would just like to put it out there, PSA, and you know, you could speak on this. If you are a girlfriend, this is for future people. If you're a girlfriend and you're dating my son, if you're dating our son, and you go to the movie theater and someone's in your seats, and he is submissive enough to not kick a mother and 2 children to the front row where they belong, break up with him.
No,
I have raised him better than that.
I don't know about that advice, because.
But if I bought the seats, they're my seats, and you can't sit there.
I mean, yes, that is true.
Yes.
But
I'm raising my children to take what's
if the
theirs.
theater is full, then I could understand saying, "Hey, this really is our seats. Like, move. Like, this is not what
I paid for this."
bought.
Yes.
But if it's like a completely wide open theater,
right. But what had happened was, and this is what's so frustrating, is like the system works, just follow the system. Was they moved, and then I heard them behind us. They had to take someone else's seat, and then those people had to take someone else's
bad.
seat.
And it's also disruptive to everyone else, like having to move. Like, you don't realize it's a domino effect. Like, you buy your seats, and granted, sometimes our local theater is notorious for
screwing up.
If you buy seats early, they'll accidentally oversell them, and anyway, it's kind of a mess.
And that's a problem.
And I will say, one time, wasn't it when we saw Mufasa?
That was my fault.
That was
my fault.
Because I can't remember who it was. It's either me or you. Doesn't
we
really
saw
matter.
that movie on a whim.
Yeah, we saw it on a whim. Wasn't excited. Wasn't a good movie either.
We just wanted to go to the theater, like
just
for the
wanted
sake.
to go see a movie. And we legitimately messed up our seats and misread what letter it was, and we were those people who were in the wrong seats, but we didn't know it. Like, we didn't intentionally.
And then we got booted to the front row.
Yeah. So we were just watching it like this, like
with my neck.
I mean, it was just like our heads were back, looking up.
Experience.
So it was,
and it was like Mufasa, which is an awful movie, and it smelled like weed the whole time in the theater.
So
and I was like, man, this is why I sit in the middle row.
Yeah. Luckily, that was an experience.
Anyway, so yes, we go to Zootopia 2, and genuinely, when I am here to do nothing but tell you that it's maybe the best movie of the year.
It was.
It's in my top 3.
It's in my top 3 as well.
K-pop Demon Hunters is still on top.
It's my number 1, but
K-pop Demon Hunters is still on top for me, just because the longevity of that film is going to be amazing.
Mm-hmm.
But
yeah,
Zootopia 2 is sitting very, very neatly at like a 4.5-star rating in my second spot. Like, phenomenal.
It was 5 stars for me, probably. But again,
now that I'm thinking, I need to go watch it again.
I don't really.
I need to go watch it again.
We do need to watch it again. You always have that experience where you see a movie for the first time, you're like,
there's a recency
that was the
bias.
best thing ever.
Yes.
And then you see it a few more times and you're like,
it's okay.
But I will say, I mean, I've watched the first Zootopia. I mean, I can memorize. I could start the first line for you if you wanted me to. I mean, I love that movie. Yeah. And the second one, it was just as lovable.
Good.
It was so good. It was hilarious. It was funny. But yeah. It was a great movie.
And we are not the only ones that feel this way. Let me read you some of these headlines from Zootopia 2's release. The highest global animated opening of all time, at $560 million opening weekend.
It's wild. 4th
highest global opening of all time. Highest global debut of 2025. Highest global opening.
Even over Wicked?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah. Highest global opening for an animated sequel ever. Highest global opening ever for Walt Disney Animation Studio. Highest global opening for any animated film in Disney history. Highest global sequel opening of 2025. And since 2021, previous record being Spider-Man No Way Home. Biggest opening weekend increase from original to sequel for any animated franchise, which means Zootopia 2 opening weekend made 239% more than the Zootopia opening weekend, and has been the number 1 movie globally, domestically, and internationally for Thanksgiving weekend, and currently still is.
That's insane.
Wild. Like, these
I can't comprehend that much money, but the fact
that
you
could buy Warner Brothers with that kind of
I'm in.
But also, my thing is, like, if you've seen the movie, you watch the movie, we'll be spoiler free here, because genuinely, just please go see it. Mm-hmm. It was what I felt like Disney used to be.
Yes, I would agree. Because we've seen
seen
pretty much every we did we've seen most recent. I mean, I don't think there's one we missed recently.
Not animated.
I personally liked Freakier Friday. I know that was, you haven't seen that one
Right.
yet, but that was live action, and I'm not even a huge
Right.
Freaky Friday fan, but
Right.
I love that movie. That was a good movie, but outside of that, in the
Right.
animated, they just have been not.
They've been bad.
They've been bad. They've been total misses, not hit or misses. Been
Yep.
just misses over and over again. So yeah, it was watching it. We were sitting in the theater. I was sitting there and I was just like, I'm so nervous. Like this is gonna be a train wreck.
Right.
And turning it on and like the beginning and all through the story, like it just kept going.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember thinking, it's still good. This is still good. I'm laughing.
Right.
I'm laughing out
It's
loud.
funny.
It's actually funny. Like, and it just felt such a genuine story.
Yeah.
But I remember just being like so nervous. And then I
Yeah.
feel like, well, maybe it's like an hour in, I told you,
We're
I was like, I love this and I'm so scared that I love it. Like
Yeah.
it's going to turn on itself or something.
Yeah.
And no, it was great.
Good.
It was, yeah, it was better than I could have imagined it to
Right.
be. So,
And it was so appropriate while also being like funny and on the
Yes.
line, because Disney's gotten a lot of heat recently in their latest movies because they'll kind of push like random political views and like stuff that was just kind of like we've talked about this on the show a million times. The downfall of Disney is we're just like, why do I didn't ask for that, like why do we just give me a good movie? And that's what Zootopia 2 is. It's genuinely just a great movie with a great moral and a great message that like I connected so hard with. And I felt like it was that classic Disney thing where they were like, this is a really big idea that we're going to filter down in a way that you can understand, in a way that makes sense to anyone and anyone can relate to in a fun, like, also like after watching the first Zootopia 2, like there's movie references and there's like there's literally a reference to The Shining in that, like, so good.
Yeah, Jack had to point that out to me because I was like, I've never seen The Shining. So he was like, that's a Shining reference. I was like, is it? I don't know. Because the first movie they reference Breaking Bad and The Godfather. And that's hilarious. It's so funny. So yeah, in this movie, I don't know if you've seen this. I saw recently that, I can't remember if it was the director who announced this, but they said that originally the Shining reference was going to be like this 4-minute long segment of the movie.
Oh my gosh.
And they took it out because they're like, yeah, kids might get a little freaked out about that. So we're not going to do this.
That's so funny.
Which is fair, because I remember when the first Zootopia came out, a lot of little kids at the time were kind of creeped out by it just because of the animals going crazy and attacking each other. So they were a little scared. But
my brother was younger at the time, and he was pretty scared by it. And I forgot about that.
Yeah, it was a thing. So at this movie, I don't think we don't have any kids and little kids, but I think it was probably a little less scary just because, the animals aren't going savage.
Right. They're not
savage. Going crazy.
Yeah.
It
was funny. It was really funny. And I will say, the one thing I'll spoil, like if you're still not sold, there's this joke, Duke Weaselton, is that his name? Okay. Duke Weaselton is back.
Play off of Frozen.
Yes,
because it was Duke Weselton.
The Duke of Weselton.
But they kept saying it wrong.
Weselton.
So then as a joke in Zootopia,
he's actually a weasel.
So
if you love animal puns, this is your movie.
Oh, wait, there's a lot of them.
But he's like selling movies again, but they're all live action remakes of like, and it's so funny. And he's like, they say the studio's in the toilet, and they're like, it's I was like, oh my gosh, how did they get this?
They outed
through?
Themselves.
Like, how did they get this through? Like, phenomenal stuff. Every night, our nightly routine now is to search on Instagram for new pirated clips of Zootopia 2.
I'll just go Zootopia 2. What comes up? Is there anything
like people's awful theater
published?
Recordings? I'm like, you have to stop looking this up.
It's funny.
Oh my gosh.
There's always something, and there's always something like, oh, I forgot about that. That's so funny. We just need to, we need to go see it again.
Go see it. It's phenomenal.
One thing too, I will say, if you loved the world of Zootopia in the first movie, and you're like all the different, they have Tundra Town and Sahara Square. Am I saying that right?
I think so. I don't know.
There's all like the different worlds, and they have like the jungle and winter and all the different I don't know what the right word is. like ecosystems, biomes.
Yeah.
Biomes. So they have all these different places. Well, in the new one, they do more world building. So they go to different places. I won't spoil it, but it's actually really cool. So they explore the world. The animation was
gorgeous,
beautiful.
Absolutely
like there was one
beautiful.
scene towards the beginning where you're like, this is so beautiful. Like the colors. And that's one reason I love animation, because of the artwork behind it. It's just so creative, and the way they did it all. And Zootopia is just a very colorful world and movie anyway.
Yeah.
So seeing that in the sequel,
it was like out of 10.
It was great.
They just, they essentially just flexed for like 2 hours. It was so good.
It was so good. Yeah.
Go see it.
Do we want to touch on the Judy and Nick thing?
Yes.
Is that too spoiler?
No, I don't think so. So essentially, if you are on the internet at all, or just a fan of Zootopia,
or just know anything about Zootopia,
just know anything, you know, like that is the joke where it's like everyone wants Judy and Nick to be together, and some are more extreme than others. There's a
dark place of the internet with their story that is
so
ridiculous.
Which is so funny, because like you say Zootopia is your favorite movie, and then everyone's like, "Oh,
I know,
like, no,
it
it's
makes
not
me
like
so
that."
mad. I'm like, this would be such fun characters to be for Halloween, but then it'd be so weird. I can't do it. It's like, no.
Like, I'm not a furry. I promise. It's just a good story.
It's just a good story. Yeah.
No, I understand.
No. So I will say, we'll be spoiler free, and this is what I've told other people who haven't seen it yet. I was like, if you know anything about that, and some people who aren't, you know, maybe that is news to you, you don't know people do that, but in the first movie, you know, they're clearly friends, like they just met each other, like nothing's crazy going on. But the second movie, I will say, they handled everything, in my opinion, really, really well.
So well.
Very appropriately. You know, because the movie takes place, you literally are starting off right where it ends, like the first movie ends.
Yeah.
I actually saw a interview with Jennifer Goodwin, that's who plays Judy, right? And she said, I think in the beginning process of writing Zootopia 2, they were saying that, oh, well, it might be written, like the story might take place years down the road. And when they start working on it, they're like, that actually doesn't make sense.
Right.
Like too much would have happened between the characters between then. Too much happened in the world between then. I mean, they just came off of this high.
Because the first one was a cultural revolution for the Zootopia world.
Yes, I mean,
and that culture doesn't shift immediately.
No,
like it's a gradual
and it would have
thing.
been disingenuous and honestly maybe too idealistic to do that and jump forward in that way. So they definitely, she was saying how they kind of went back and were like, no, we need to pick up where we left off and see what that was like for them coming off that high of we saved the city, we saved Zootopia, Nick is now a cop, and like this whole new dynamic even between the two characters. And that gets explored in the movie.
It's really good.
You know, they're very different. Like she's the typical small-town girl, had all the siblings, goes to the big city, and then he was alone essentially. So it's kind of also exploring like just differences in people and how you grow up and what does that look like in a friendship. And it was honestly
and
really
their friendship
sweet.
Is precious.
It is precious.
It is like
they did a great job.
Tears in my eyes, precious. Like, and I'm just like, why do I want them together but I don't? Like, what's the
like?
What's
I don't want to be
on?
weird, but like it makes sense. But
I also think like this is one of the few movies, and this will be like the last thing I say, is this is one of the few movies I feel like they were able to explore a really deep, like emotional relationship that wasn't romantic.
Yes.
And I thought that was so impressive.
They do tease you.
They
though.
tease it, and
they make
know.
a lot of jokes.
They know what they're doing.
They know. And I was telling Jack this morning, I was like, you know, I don't think one person who worked on that movie didn't know about
they know
the fandom of what people wanted. And I was like, but you know, they handled it so well. And they really did, like exploring a friendship, being vulnerable in a friendship. But I do think they appeased both sides. Like, I think they were like people who were like, I want them to be together.
Right.
I think the way they handled it in such a gentle way could have appeased those people. And it also made the people who were like, what are you talking about? I think it kind of made them more comfortable and curious, because it was like, oh, there's
We're
nothing
the
romantic.
elephant.
It's nothing is, they did not make anything weird that they didn't need to make weird, honestly, for a kids movie. So it was handled a really good way, but there are a lot of jokes, and they poke fun at it.
Favorite.
And that's the best thing
And
about this movie is it's hilarious, and they make jokes about everything, and even that. So
go see it.
Yeah,
please go watch it. Genuinely so good. Well, we're about to dig into Wicked here in just a moment, but if you like what we do here, this is a fully independent production. So if you're not following us on Instagram at the Nerdiest Podcast, or on YouTube at the Nerdiest Podcast, or listening on Spotify, 5-star review, we just got our Spotify Wrapped back. It looks really good. We're going to go over it on the next episode, which is going to be our year in review. It's almost time, guys.
That's wild. It's already that time of year.
It's already that time of year. So yeah, if you're just give 5 stars if you like what we do here. There's merch, all the links in the description. That's that about that. So Wicked for good.
Switching gears to two most anticipated movies of the year.
My first initial question, just overall, is: do you feel like you've been changed for the better?
Change for good? Maybe.
Now, so Wicked last year, I think, was the movie of the year.
Oh yeah,
like
totally.
Wicked, the Wicked movie.
Another movie I had very low expectations of, by the way.
There was a lot of controversy. It was like, and we never covered it on this show because we knew the second one would come out, and we were like, what's the point? And we didn't feel qualified to talk about it because it's a musical. And so we had
they're like,
we had to bring in the big guns.
Who can we bring in to talk about this?
We had to bring in the big guns. And so this is a Wicked for good, essentially review, but like analysis. But just Wicked in general is such a bigger thing than these movies, which is so interesting because now it's so available to a wide audience. So give me the Wicked, like your personal experience, your thoughts, and then like just the overall thought.
So
from all three.
I want to start off with the movie and going into the first movie, part 1. So I heard they're making a Wicked movie. I was concerned. I heard the cast. I know some people were thrilled, and I was a little concerned. I was like, I don't know about this. Like, this is, I don't know. I had low expectations. But Jackson didn't know anything about Wicked. Like, had you even seen The Wizard of Oz?
I had.
Okay,
like
you
once.
had. I
like
couldn't
a long
remember.
time ago once. It was like not even.
Yeah. So he didn't know a thing.
Because my mom loves The Wizard of Oz, and so I grew up around it.
Yeah, and it's such a classic movie. But Jackson had never seen Wicked. Didn't know anything about Wicked. I don't even know if he could know what Defying Gravity was.
No.
Like, didn't know anything.
Because it was something my mom liked, but I didn't care.
Right. He's like, I don't really care. And then here's to show his wife who loves Wicked.
Yes, of course.
So when we were dating in 2023 in the fall, Wicked came to a local theater and a Broadway tour, and I was like, okay, Jack, we are going to see this because this movie is coming out. And at the time, that movie wasn't coming out for another year and a month because we saw it in October 2023. And I was like, we have to go see this because I don't want you to hate it. And you think, Amy, why on earth do you like this thing? Because I was like, if the movie's terrible, which in the Broadway realm, Broadway movies typically are not good. And not at all like they are on stage. So I was like, okay, let's go see it. And then you can have your own opinion. And even if you don't like it, you don't like it, but at least you saw the real deal. Right. So we did that. So what was your first impression of seeing it?
My first impression seeing it, was that the first like Broadway show that I saw?
You had seen Frozen. Disney's Frozen came and we saw that in July, and that was your first experience.
That was my first one.
But you've seen Frozen.
Right.
So this
and
was
Frozen
your first.
Was like, well, that's a great like entry level.
Yeah, and that honestly was my first time seeing any Disney musical on stage.
And if you have Disney Plus, watch the Frozen musical master cut. It's fire.
It's so good.
So I went in literally blind, like completely like I have no clue. And I really loved it. I really did love it. But I think I left feeling like I didn't really get it.
Yeah. I remember after Act 1 when she like goes up in the
right
air.
after
At this
Defying
point,
Gravity.
if
Right.
you've not seen Wicked,
Right. Hey, spoilers for Wicked.
This is all the spoilers for
doy.
Wicked. And when she goes up in the air on stage for the first time, I remember looking and be like, "Oh my gosh!"
Wow,
Like, what are you
yeah.
thinking? You know, because that was my third time seeing
Right.
Wicked on stage,
Which is insane. Like,
I was like, you like, what is he thinking after Act
Yeah.
1 and the curtain closes? I was like, okay, like,
What do you
think? And he was like, it's good, but I could tell he was like really confused. And I was
because
like,
it's so dense. Like the
It is.
story is super dense, and and this is why it's a good story because it's so nuanced. And when you're watching it on stage, if you miss something,
you just miss it.
You just miss it. There's no rewinding.
It's not very
there's no
forgiving.
captions. It's not
in that way.
So like you almost need to like listen to the album first and then, because I'm like listening to lyrics, but then I'm like just trying to enjoy it, but then like there's stuff like everything is important.
Shout out to a younger me before I saw it on stage and thought The Wizard and I was kind of a romantic song. It is not at all. If you see, we'll talk about it. If you know the spoiler of who the wizard is, that would be weird.
That would be weird.
So and then of course you see it and you're like, that's not what the song is at all. So
yeah, my stage experience was very positive, but I left feeling like just kind of confused.
Yeah.
And I knew I loved Defying Gravity, and I knew I loved No Good Deed, and I knew I loved Popular. But like those are the songs that everyone knows.
Yeah.
And so like those are the ones that stuck with me the best.
Yeah. And it was a great, the cast of that one was
phenomenal.
Fantastic. And they always are. They're always great. You're never going to see a bad
Right.
Wicked cast from a Broadway tour.
Right.
But yeah, I grew up with Wicked. I'm pretty sure Wicked was the very first Broadway musical, because my parents had taken me to see things like when I was really little.
Right.
Like I'm pretty sure it Frog and Toad.
Oh yeah.
Is that what they're called?
Yeah.
Like those little junior musical things.
Or like the Beauty
and I
and
don't
the
even
Beast
really
show
remember.
at Disney World.
Yeah,
like,
you'd seen stuff like that, but then when I saw Wicked, it was the first thing I'd ever seen. That was the Broadway level of a musical, and I don't remember how old I was. I was probably
it's flooring.
I was probably 11 or 12, and just being like sitting in that room and watching her go up in the air, and like the lights and the costumes
it's magical.
and the level of. And I knew the Wizard of Oz. Actually, when I was little, I loved the Wizard of Oz. So like seeing all of that come together in such a rich story, it was just like mind-boggling. Like I was like, and that's where I started to fall in love with going and seeing stuff on stage. Because there's nothing like it. Like the high after seeing a musical to me is just, I love it. So I had seen it again, probably my early teen years, and then I saw it when I was 21 with Jack. So that was, and then watching it, I will say, watching it as an adult is very different than watching it as a kid. You pick up on some things. You realize Glenda's not so good after all. Like you realize Elphaba's got some issues. So like you kind of realize
it's a mature story.
Oh, like, okay. There's a lot of stuff, but as a kid, it just went right over my head.
Yeah.
But now as an adult, I was like, oh, there's these people,
and we'll get into it.
a little
but
complicated.
But like the version we saw on stage was so spicy. Like As Long as You're Mine, which is like the only like really,
it was the spiciest
they were
one.
Like all over each other, and I remember being like, what on earth
I
is
think that was probably one of the
happening?
funniest moments, because I knew, hey, I
had no idea that was happening.
They're just holding each other, kissing, and like, it's not past PG-13, but it is uncomfy, especially when it's like
On stage,
live like that.
yeah.
And Jack, I don't even know if I told you.
You did not prepare me for that.
Didn't I probably should have, but I was like, oh, it'll be fine, because in the past it was usually they were just kind of sitting there, like different people
they'll
play into it more. But then
the version we saw, they
that
were like,
was, and we weren't even
they
in the
went
orchestra.
ham.
We were in a balcony, and I was like,
oh my word.
And I remember your face was so disturbed. You looked at me, you're like, Oh, what is happening?
How long had we been dating at that point?
We were dating
It was like
a while.
It was over a year.
I don't know if it's quite a year, but
Okay.
it
was still early enough for me to be like, oh.
Yeah, it was a little, and so yeah, that was
uncomfy.
a little uncomfy, but no, and as as an adult, it was like, oh, there's a lot more to this musical than I thought there was in these characters. So.
That's how the book is. So,
I don't read the book.
Yeah, it's just
I don't know.
There's a lot there.
No. Also, for any, I don't know if any parents are listening to this podcast. I'm a 23-year-old married adult.
Yeah.
I would not read the Wicked book. I've been told that by multiple people.
Mm-hmm.
And, because back when I was a kid, I mean, the book was first and then there was the musical.
Yeah.
And the book, I think, came out in the 90s.
Yeah.
And the musical came out in 2003.
Yeah.
So I remember moms, because I told my mom, I was like, oh, there's a book. I want to read the Wicked book. Of course I want to read the Wicked book. And there was a few adults, and my mom didn't know anything. And my there was a neighborhood, I'm pretty sure it was our neighbor who she knew so Wicked, funny. Loved seeing the music, and she told my mom, she's like, Beth, don't, just don't. Because then I really was, I was young. Very young to not, And she was like, the book is not like the musical.
It's a little spicier.
The musical is the PG version. Mm-hmm. The book is the R-rated version. So they, gets way worse. So, and I've personally never read the book, so I can't say,
Yeah. I don't know what's in it. I've just heard.
I've heard some things in it that I won't say on this podcast. But
there's this whole group of people that are like reading it from watching the movie, and they're like,
and
"Oh my god!"
Yeah, and if you've seen any of the reels that have come out recently, because what's happening is it came out, and then they came out with the book that looks like the movie cover, not the original book.
That's cruel.
And honestly, if I had seen Wicked and watched the first movie, I was like, "This is fine.
Yeah,
like,
is
there's
great.
Nothing in this."
I'll let my daughter read this.
But then it's the real original book from the 90s, and you're like, they did what? Like, that is not the Wicked I saw or know. So yeah, it's a little disturbing. Yeah. So, and maybe for some people they've read it, but I don't know.
And what's interesting
and I'm not really interested in finding out.
Did you know that Wicked was it 2003 it came out? Mm-hmm. It didn't win the Tony for musical of the year.
It did not.
It was beat
probably because of Act 2. Which we'll get into.
We'll get into. Well, it was beat by Avenue Q. Do you know what that is?
I actually don't.
So Avenue Q, this is just a little history lesson, is a musical about New York City, and it's all puppets, but it's like rated R. It's essentially like Sesame Street and South Park together. And like their number one song, their most popular song is called Everyone's a Little Racist. That's that's the vibe. Like, it's R-rated puppets, like New York City, like it's a comedy.
What does that reflect of our culture?
No, I know. But it won because they found out it was like an independent thing, like barely got off Broadway, but it was like a sleeper hit.
I mean, puppetry is really
impressive. Really
I mean,
impressive.
it really is.
But that
is a skill in of itself.
But the creators of it, I think they were Mormon. But
well, if it's the same people who did South Park, they actually are Mormon. Because the same people who did South Park wrote the Book of Mormon, which is a musical.
And so I don't think it was them, but I think they were like connected in some way. But they did a huge campaign push to the Tonys, because it's not like the Academy where it's like 100 people. The Tonys is like 12 people.
Wow.
And
who do you have to be to like?
I know, right? And I think it's changed since then, but they did a letter campaign personally to those people. It was crazy.
What?
It was crazy.
No.
I watched a whole like YouTube documentary about it.
No.
Anyway, it was crazy.
You just need to go see. I feel like, and this is something I'll say, and regarding the Wicked I know we're talking more of Wicked on stage right now. I will say one thing with the movie, where I feel like the movie takes away some of the magic, is if you go and you'd see Wicked on stage, just know the Wizard of Oz, like obviously, hopefully you do. If you're
Of course.
going into Wicked. Spoiler alert, it's very tied into the Wizard of Oz. And the biggest thing about Wicked is when you go into it, there's Act 1, which takes place before the Wizard of Oz, and that's setting the stage for what's happening. It's almost like the prequel, you could say. Act 2 ties into the Wizard of Oz. I had the absolute joy of being a kid, didn't know a thing about Wicked, because the only way you could experience the Wicked story was by going and seeing it on stage, which was such a joy, because it wasn't like, you know, The Sound of Music or these other Broadway musicals where they're pretty universal and mainstream and you can access them at any time, whether that's through a movie or it's something like The Music Man where your local high school has done it like 5 times. Like you probably know those stories, right? But with Wicked, that isn't something just high schoolers are going to do on stage. That isn't something that your local theater company, if you know, like us, we live in a smaller town, like they're not going to do Wicked. They don't have the budget or the capacity for that. So, you know, and seeing Wicked, it really was every 5 years, every several years, if you were lucky and you got the tickets, you were able to see Wicked. So it really was just a treat.
And that's why the movie was a huge deal.
It was a huge deal. It was
the first time that story was accessible in a medium like that.
Right. And so that was a big thing about seeing it. But the best thing about it is kind of like, think of it compared to Star Wars, right?
Yeah.
If you were seeing Star Wars for the first time, and luckily, I don't know how I got away with this as a kid, but when I found out that Darth Vader was Luke Skywalker's father, I genuinely was shocked, because I was, you know, we watched it on my parents' old VHS tape in our living room, and watching A New Hope and then watched The Empire Strikes Back. I was shocked. I got to have that shock factor. My kids probably will not have that shock factor because it's so mainstream in our culture.
Well, I don't know. I think that's up to you.
I don't know. I feel like they'll get spoiled pretty fast. I mean, we have stuff like Clone Wars and all, you know, the whole world. Yeah,
but you have control over what they're exposed to.
Yeah.
So you could incubate that experience.
They're gonna go to school, or they're gonna go to something, and they're gonna be like, "Guess who's the?" Yeah. I mean,
this retro movie.
It's gonna get spoiled for them. And I feel like Wicked now, because of the movie, that has gotten. That experience is now, I don't want to say ruined,
because you don't
but
know
it kind of
who.
is, because, you know, you had only the access on stage, just like way back when you saw Star Wars. I mean, I was not born in the 80s, so I didn't have that theater experience, but I was able to see that.
Right.
With Wicked, you see Act 2 on stage, you see it all at once, so you don't get the year to find out what happens. You get that one experience. And seeing it on stage, you get the surprise of which characters turn into the Wizard of Oz characters that you know very well.
Yeah.
So and it was a shock. I mean, it really was like, I had no idea that this character was going to become the Tin Man. I had no idea that this character was going to become the Scarecrow. I had no idea. I mean, the lion, you can see that coming. Obvious. You can see that coming. And obviously, Dorothy is not connected. She is the... You know, she's from Kansas. I almost said Oz. No, she's from Kansas. So, like, obviously, you know where Dorothy's from, but you already know her story. You don't know those other characters' story. Yeah. So that was such a treat to be surprised by that. Where now, because of the movie, I think it's kind of it's taken away that magic. I mean, maybe if you're lucky, but if you go on Instagram and just open your Instagram,
it's there.
They already
also,
have memes
if you
about
watched a trailer, like the trailer for Good ruined that whole experience.
You didn't even know going into it that it would even come into the Wizard of Oz, so that was all very new. So that's just kind of a thing I want to say. If you haven't gotten to experience that,
I'm surprised you're listening to this, but you know.
Yeah. That's
but also,
kind of sad.
Like, my experience after that was the movie, where we were like, this is going to be so bad. This is going to be, because Broadway movies are historically not very good.
They are.
Because Broadway is such a special medium, and it's just like, it is a sensory experience in a way that a movie, in the same way that like watching a concert on TV is not like being there.
Right.
Like, it's different.
And that's one thing I've learned with Jack specifically. He really doesn't like watching stage productions recorded, which I can understand.
Because I'd rather be there.
He'd rather be there, and I can understand that. So, for example, Wicked, fun fact, is actually not my favorite musical of all time.
Yeah.
Might have sounded like it based on everything I just said. It's actually not. It's in my top 5, but it's not my favorite. But one of my favorites is The Phantom of the Opera. But I am gatekeeping it so hard right now because I'm like, you're not watching the movie.
Yeah.
Which that's my thoughts for another time.
Yeah.
Why I don't want him to see the movie. And then there is a version I love that is the thing recorded on stage, but it was more like it was a 25th anniversary concert.
Yeah.
And
it's not
it
like
doesn't have all the
play.
They did a phenomenal job as far as talent and the singing and the acting, but it didn't have all the stage. She didn't really know what was going on. So I told him, I was like, we're just going to wait and we're going to see it.
Yeah.
And thankfully I found out that there's a North American tour that is about to, it actually has already started, I think. So it's going to come through. I haven't gotten the dates yet for when it's coming close to us.
But we'll be there.
We will be there. We'll be there, and he'll be seeing it for the first time.
And it's so interesting because, you also have plays like Hamilton that got big off of the master cut.
Right.
Like when the master cut of Hamilton hit Disney Plus, that's how 90% of the viewers experienced it.
Because
but also,
let's be real, Broadway is so expensive.
Yes.
And it is not.
It's like a high class thing.
I mean, it is so
everyman.
expensive. I mean, the Wicked tickets and all of that. I mean, even for, cheap
people.
I mean, it's several $100. Yeah. And I mean, there's sometimes you can get a steal where it's only maybe, but even then, I mean, when Hamilton came, they're selling tickets for like thousands of dollars. And I'm like, this isn't even on Broadway.
Right.
Even on Broadway, I wouldn't pay for that. But even it's not on Broadway.
Right. You're like,
it's wild.
Yeah.
Like, why is it so expensive?
Yeah.
But that's something about, coming into movies. And one thing I am excited about the Wicked movie is it is accessible.
Yeah.
And people can see it. And yeah.
And what's interesting is I think, just giving a little context for the first one too, is I think that the first movie was one of the best stage adaptations to film I had ever seen, because I think the director, John M. Chu, understood how big of a deal this was.
I agree.
And he was
they knew the stakes were high.
He was like, this needs to be the best freaking Broadway movie ever, or we're so screwed. Like, none of us will work again.
And especially with a set like that and the world.
It's like,
I mean, CGI isn't going to fix everyone's problems. Let's be real. We saw the sequel. We saw the prequel Star Wars trilogy.
But it was like, we're going to build a real set, and we're going to build this real set, and we're going to, use real filmmaking techniques, and like all of the singing in that movie was done on set. Like, it was live. Yeah. And like, you can watch Cynthia Erivo.
You can see her literally flying circles in the air while she's singing.
Like, which is so impressive. Knew how important that was. And I think that those huge numbers paid off really well. Like the popular Dancing Through Life, Defying Gravity, like No One Mourns the Wicked, like that opening sequence, you're in the theater and you either have the context to know what's going to happen and you're building up, or you're just coming in completely blind. And that opening sequence starts and you're just like, holy crap. Like, what am I in for? Yeah. And that when I remember seeing it in theaters and being like, hearing the budget and being like, on what planet does a movie need to cost this much? Because this is like a $300 million movie, like just insane. Yeah, it's insane. And then I saw it and thought, oh, that makes sense.
That's why.
That'd be why. And that's my thing. Here's my thing. I'm not mad that movies have high budgets, but if your movie has $300 million and it looks like the Multiverse of Madness, I'm like, is this
still haven't seen that one?
Tax write-off? Like, was catering services too expensive? Like, where did it go? So like, you can spend a lot of money on a movie, but I want to see it. It better look really good. Like, the stakes go higher. Because
if it's like, okay, you got that much money. A, why did you need that much money? Right. And B, if you have that much money, please use it for a good purpose. Right. Yeah. Like, you could be feeding like 5,000 people with that much money. That's insane.
And so even just like moving into the second movie, I think that the bar was so high.
It was.
Everyone was like, this is going to be, because that's kind of the sequel curse, and this ties into Zootopia too, as well as it's like, how do you build? Like, how do you, because the movie 1 needs to go to a peak.
Yes.
And then movie 2 needs to take that peak and double it. And that's why sequels never work, because you're like, how do you go up from here?
Unless it's The Empire Strikes Back.
Right. And that, but I would even argue,
even then, that the whole story is going like this.
I would even argue that Star Wars as a trilogy is just a straight line up through Return of the Jedi.
Return of the Jedi is my favorite.
Yeah, me too.
But
and so
I'm a little biased there.
Yeah, and that's why we got married. And so I think that if you've seen Wicked on stage, you know the second act is just genuinely not as good.
Yeah.
And it's just different because the first act is so magical and fun and a big, like, it's just a big dance party.
It's fun.
And it's really silly. And then the second act is like, no, we're going to war.
Yeah, it gets really sad really fast.
And I don't know if the theater audience was ready for that.
And that's one thing, another reason why, going back to this is the problem with a Broadway on stage versus Broadway in a movie. And on stage, and remember, the first movie of Wicked, part 1, just part 1, is 2.5 hours long. Yeah. You could go see Wicked on stage in the same amount of time, I think including intermission. Maybe add 15 minutes to that. Yeah. Even then, you could see the story in its entirety all the way through in that amount of time. So you are seeing part 1 and part 2.
Yes.
And you don't have all this extra time.
Right.
And then come into the next movie where they did add stuff, and we'll get to that in a second. Yeah. They added more things, and it's still 2 hours, right?
It's like 2:15.
2:15. It's still long. Because Act 2 on stage, I think, is like maybe
it's
an
not as
hour
long.
And a half.
Like normally though, the first act is longer than the second.
Yeah, the first act is definitely longer, and a lot happens. But I think, unfortunately, with Wicked, and just the way that it is on, and this is how it is on stage too. Yeah. You know, we all know the Wizard of Oz. We know Dorothy and her story, and the characters, and seeing the wizard, and trying to get back home to Kansas.
Right.
But with Wicked, when you're seeing Act 1, you don't know that story. So you're naturally more interested, like, oh, it's the Wicked Witch of the West, but like she's kind of chill, like what's going on here? And you're like, oh, Glinda, but Glinda's not so good. You know, like she's kind of a jerk and a bully. And you kind of like go through the story and you're like, this is so interesting, but you know, in the back of your head, you're like, I know Elphaba's gonna become the Wicked Witch of the West. It's gonna happen. Kind of like, and I don't know why I keep doing the parallel to Star Wars, but it's kind of like Revenge of the Sith, where you're like, you know, I know who he's gonna be, and I'm like, I know this is just gonna build, and so that tension is building. Like in Revenge of the Sith, you know that's gonna happen throughout all the prequels, right? Even in Clone Wars, like you know where that direction is going. Right. Well, in Wicked Part 1, you're like, I know she's gonna be the Wicked Witch of the West, and it ends on that final climax of like, whoa, defying gravity, this is it. She's got her cape, she's got the broom, she's flying.
It's her.
Like it's the character. And if you see it on stage, it's like I'm beating to her saying this, but when you see it on stage, that moment where you're like, you know, defying gravity's coming, and you know she's about to go fly up into the air, and it's so cool. And so you're waiting for that, and that high, which I go back to the Broadway, I always say the Broadway high, that's when your high comes. Yes. Is in the middle of Act, or at the end of Act 1. And the, you know, curtain closes and they're like, okay, Act 2. And
because you're left there, because the lights come on and you can't move. You can't move.
Like, it's so good.
You're like, why am I crying? Like,
it's so good. And then,
I felt that way at the theater.
Yeah. And that's why I was looking at you. I was like, I know that was so cool.
Genuinely, like the end of the movie. Like I felt that in the movie theater.
Yeah.
Like the end of the movie, I think, and you can like push back on this if you want, but like that defying gravity sequence in the first Wicked movie is one of maybe the most powerful moments in a Broadway movie I've ever seen.
Oh yeah, for
Like,
sure.
I genuinely watched that. We've seen it 3 times now. That's the Wicked movie.
Or 4 times.
4 times.
Did we see it in the theater twice?
I didn't.
Oh, maybe I didn't. We did probably only see it 3 times.
Yeah, I've seen it 3 times.
Because then we watched it on New Year's Eve last year.
Genuinely.
We're like, what 3-hour movie are we going to do?
Right. And it was a movie of the year. And that's my thing is I'm like, you are left there. Like, I cry every time. And I think that's why it's so, I just cry. But also like, and that's the meme. It's like, we're all holding space for defying gravity. Like, it's just so stupid. But I'm also like,
my favorites when they put the elf on the shelf on the ceiling fan.
On the ceiling
That's
fan.
my favorite.
Yes.
Personally.
But you do that, like, genuinely, it's so, like, she bodied that song.
She did.
And, like, I'm sorry, Adina, but, like, Cynthia Erivo, like, that's her song now. And, like, she kills it.
She did really good.
And it's so emotional and powerful. Like, every time, I think everyone has something to connect to in that number. And it's just this, like, turning point of, like, no, I'm taking control. And you're like, I'm gonna live my life. Like, I have to stop listening to what everyone says to do. Like, and that's like such a pivotal turning point that I think everyone has hit at some point. And so like that in song, like the whole thing, you're like, this is it. This is like the point. And then you have to do 2.5 more hours of movie. So like, they were not set up for
and wait,
success.
There's more.
But wait, and then you're like, wait, oh,
for
and so
$19.99. But wait,
there's more. For an additional $19.99 movie ticket, you could see the
for real.
Which
it was probably that
this
much.
is how much it costs. But I think that, like, I haven't just plain out said it, but like the second movie, it's good. Like,
it is good.
It's really
it
good.
Is
I'm not here to crap on it, but I think that they just genuinely weren't set up for success because of the way the story is set up to be like. But I'm also honestly disappointed because I think that what a Broadway medium cannot bring is a closeness, and it cannot bring that emotion in the way that a film can, because you're not right up close. That's why the Broadway master cuts are so interesting. And they feel disconnected to me because I'm like, well, it's cutting. It's like too close.
That's kind of like what we were talking about with Les Mis.
Yeah.
Because I introduced Jack to Les Mis, the movie, because we're actually going to go see it on stage in January.
Yeah.
Which I've never seen on stage, so I'm super excited because everyone's just like, it's the best thing ever.
Right.
But in the movie, it's really funny because the director, like all the shots are like so in their face, so in their face. And when we were watching it, I was like, I bet he did that to make you uncomfortable. Because he can. Because on stage, you're, of course, whether you're in an orchestra as close as you can be, or you're on a balcony, probably likely you're in a balcony because you can't afford the tickets in the front row. You're so far away. Like, you're getting to experience it and be a part of the story and listen to music, but you don't have that intimate, like, I'm here with them experience.
That's
if
my
that makes
thing
sense.
about For Good, though, is For Good because all of the best musical numbers are in the first act, and all of the big ones, all of that. So the second one relies almost entirely on emotion. And it's so emotional and it's so deep. It's more character work. It's not as like woohoo fun.
They get to deal with the choices they made.
Yeah,
I mean, it really is the
absolutely.
consequences of their choices.
And I think that's so interesting.
You get to live with that. Like in Act 1, you're saying like Elphaba finally was like, you had that moment where you're like, I don't care what anyone else thinks. Well, sometimes that can be like, I don't care what you think and I'm going to do whatever the heck I want. Right. But in her case, it was like, this is wrong. Like, what he is doing is wrong. I'm going to do the right thing no matter what people think. People already don't like me, so they're going to think I'm going to do it for, like, the wrong reasons. But she really was trying to do the right thing and sacrificed,
her reputation
that she really already didn't have a great one. But she was starting to build. She had the opportunity to have the best reputation she never had.
Yeah.
And she gave it up. Because she said, I would rather do the right thing than stand here by the wizard who's going to be lying.
Right.
And I think that was the big thing in the second one, and why it's so sad is like you're like, oh, Elphaba's isolated. She isn't at she isn't with all the school people, and it's all this fun, dance parties and the Ostas ballroom and all this stuff.
Yeah, dancing through life.
And then you see Glinda, who definitely seems like it's all put together. She really does get everything she wants,
but she realizes it's not.
But that's the song I couldn't be happier is playing, where she's like, I thought I would be happy. She's like, this is the thrill. Like when the thrill doesn't thrill like you think it will. That's literally like the line.
Yeah.
And it's also an experience you can relate to, because there's moments in your life where you go, oh, this is what I dreamed. This is what I thought it'd be. Right. And
it's the tyranny
this ain't
it. That's my one of my favorite phrases. It's like the tyranny of achieving your dreams is you're still you with your dreams. You're
still you. And she hadn't, again, spoiler alert, she has no magic. She is miserable. She's literally a con. As much as the wizard.
Yes. It's so good.
And I will say that's something I was listening to the soundtrack again before we went on the podcast to refresh my memory. And one thing that's interesting, the song Wonderful, which is the wizard's made song. That is his main song. Like a Sentimental Man in Act 1 is just kind of we're kind of.
That's when you can go pee.
You're just trying to get to Defying Gravity. Let's be real.
That's when you can go pee.
It's kind of like Thanksgiving to your Christmas. You're just trying to get to Christmas and we take a break for a second. That's kind of what's going on there. But with Wonderful, that is his song. He is the Wonderful Wizard of Oz. And in the Broadway version, it's just him and Elphaba. Like Glinda is not there.
She's not even
there. Like she's not even there.
No, she's not.
And
but I don't think Jeff Goldblum could have done that song by himself.
No, from an artistic perspective. No, I think he was great wizard. I think that cast was great. He is quirky. He was weird, but he was like it was
not
great.
Trustable. He seems like a carny. Like he seems
he
like
really
a carnival.
Is a con,
yeah,
which is. Again,
that's
the Wizard of Oz. That's the guy that Dorothy came across in the beginning of the movie. I mean, he really is a con.
Yeah.
So, and in this movie, they brought Glinda in, and yes, from a musical standpoint, I think Ariana was kind of carrying the song there, but also it kind of reinforces the idea that she is a con as much as he is, and she loves it. Like she actually likes it, and tells Fiyero that in the first. Or the second song.
Yeah, the opening.
She's just like, she's like, who could resist this? And she's basically saying, I don't want to. I want this. So.
And that's what causes their drift.
Yeah.
And I think.
And Fiyero.
I
was gonna say his name, but probably should say
that. He had a green booty call, is what we'll say. So we. But my problem is my point being, I think that there was an amazing opportunity to hone in on the emotion of it, and I think it got lost somewhere. And I don't know if they felt pressured to keep up the huge set piece big dance number thing.
Right.
I felt like it was torn.
It was torn.
Like it was trying to be the huge production of the first one while also having the emotion of the second act, and it couldn't do both.
Also, from a story perspective, I thought, and I didn't really pay attention to this in stage play because you kind of just are like, time has passed. It doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
But in the movie, I thought, I don't know if I just got this in my head, but we were like, oh, it happened a year later. I thought I had read that somewhere.
I thought I did too.
That was how much time had passed. And I literally was listening to the soundtrack today, and in the description of the soundtrack, they're like, yes, the story set 5 years after Act 1.
That shocked me.
I was like, 5 years?
Which I'm confused. Did they finish school?
No, that is the only thing. I assumed.
Because I don't understand if you justified that.
Yeah, I assumed Glinda finished school and that they did, and she just continued.
Honestly, we might get a TV show from those 5 years. It wouldn't shock me.
Well, and the thing, and again, haven't read the book, don't plan to, so maybe there's definitely some holes to fill there. Mm-hmm. But in the 5 years, I'm like, what did Elphaba do this whole time? Like, she just
Right.
had some maps on the wall, and then it's like,
Well,
they
she was
never
letting the
caught
woodland
her.
creatures.
And I was like, Fiera was literally leading the guard to find her. It wasn't even
Yeah.
like they were trying to lead them astray from not finding her. He didn't even know where she was.
Right.
And they made a point in a movie for him to say, I want to get to her first before someone else does and kills her.
Right.
Like, what you've been doing for 5 years. So
Right.
my only answer that makes sense, I'm like, okay, you were in school. Maybe that's why.
Yeah.
But even that, I'm like,
Yeah.
5 years? That's a long. I could see 2 years, but 5?
Yeah.
I don't know. I
Yeah.
feel like too much happened, which goes
Yeah.
back to our conversation about
Yeah.
Zootopia. It's like, well, it kind of makes sense. It's
Right.
like,
It should.
that's a long time. Like,
Which is so. There's so many random parallels between these two movies that came
Yeah.
out. Like, it's so bizarre.
yeah. Sequels are
Um,
interesting.
So my question to you is: do you think that this could have been one movie? Because my thing is like the stage play, but I feel like I watched the first movie and I think, what on earth could you have cut?
I think in the
Maybe-
first movie,
Maybe Dancing Through Life could have been not 11 minutes
well,
long.
you have to
but
remember, like, in Defying Gravity, that's only like a, what, 3 or 4, 5,
it's
4
like
or 5
It's like
minute,
a 7-minute song.
7-minute song. But in the movie, it's like an 11-minute
Like sequence. Yeah.
And it's like they definitely take their time in the movie and add to the emotion and stuff of it. Sorry if
It's
y'all didn't
okay.
hear that.
It's okay.
Moving my mic around everywhere. But if you haven't seen it, like like any musical's got to, it's got to
Yeah, it's got to
keep
keep
going.
the pace.
It's got to keep going. And so in the Dancing Through Life scene in the movie, when we rewatched Wicked right before we saw the second one, I was like, you're kind of in the long haul, like, ooh, this is almost 3 hours long. I'm like committed.
Right.
The first act, you're like, this is amazing. Like the first, like,
Because it's No One Mourns the Wicked.
yeah, you get
like,
all those first
Welcome to
songs, and you're like, this
Shiz,
is amazing. The Wizard and I is like one of my favorites.
Yeah.
But the part in Dancing Through Life, I think that's the part where you go, oh, I'm in this for a while.
We're
We've been here
not
a
even
while. We're
halfway.
going to be here for a while,
Yeah.
And so I
Yeah.
don't know if that's just a timing thing.
Yeah.
And I think Dancing Through Life is an important scene.
I
and
agree.
But I do think, and it's hard. I don't know really what I'd cut.
Because I don't think
I think some of it could have been a little bit peppier of like, let's get
But
going.
I don't think it could have been one movie. It would
But
have been like 5 hours long.
No, to answer your question, no. I do think having it in 2 movies was interesting for someone who has seen it on stage.
And the 2-act structure is pretty standard.
Yeah,
So
and it worked. Like the first movie, honestly, I'm like, leave it alone. Like
5
we
stars.
know Act 1's better than
5
Act 2,
stars. Yeah.
but just leave it alone and let the movie be great.
Yeah.
And then the second act, we'll figure it out.
Well,
and
that's my thing is like there was 2 sides to the reviews that I saw for Good. Was there was one side that was like, why did it get so much worse? Like, what happened to the music? Why is it like this? Why? And then the other side was like, yep, that's the second act of Wicked.
that was me. I was
That
like,
is in fact the second act.
yeah. I mean,
And it's hard because you want it to be like another 5-star incredible experience.
It's just not.
But it's not, and I
It's
don't think that's the
good.
movie's fault.
It is good. And I've told, when my family was in town for Thanksgiving, they were asking, like, what do you think? And I was like, it is good. Like, go see it.
Genuinely
it's fun.
great.
Like, it's still
But
wicked.
if you don't care about the story, it's
But
not
yeah.
gonna be your favorite.
And honestly, I think it's split because there are the true fans that have been like, I know what Wicked is. I know what I'm
Yes.
getting into. It's going to be fun. And it is fun.
Yeah.
But if you really don't,
And
you
No
are
Good
going to be
Deed.
thrown a loop because you're going to be like, what happened? Like, this is dark.
And I also
like,
think that like listening to the Broadway version and like there's a couple songs for whatever reason I don't feel like hit. Like as long as your
Yes.
mind didn't do it for me.
no.
No Good Deed, 10 out of 10.
Well, yeah, No Good
like,
Deed. No
phenomenal.
Good Deed is,
The best song.
I don't want to say
Act 2.
objectively if you like For Good better, but No Good Deed is the best song
But I
in
don't,
Wicked.
I don't feel like the
Part 2.
movie did For Good the song. Like its own title song, I felt like I wasn't moved.
Yeah.
And I was like, what did Adina and Kristen Chenoweth do?
I'm just going to say it. And maybe if I watch the movie again, I've only seen it
Right.
once. If I watch it again, I'll feel different. And when I see it on stage for the 4th time,
Oh my
maybe
word.
I'll feel different.
You bring your children.
But Part 2, I think on stage, I liked Wicked Part 2 on stage better than I did in a movie.
Yeah.
Whereas I will say, now I love seeing it on stage all the way through, no matter what. But Part 1, the movie really did a fantastic job where I was like, this is Wicked. Like, this is it. Like, this is great.
Yeah.
But with the stage production, I think the quality and like the story, even though they added more stuff to the part of the movie, I was telling Jack, I was like, I think I would rather see it on stage, Part 2, because it's more fast. They tie it in better. Yeah. It makes more sense. Whereas in the movie, so the song I was the most excited for that, you know, isn't your mainstream song like For Good or No Good Deed or As Long As You're Mine. Yeah. I was super excited for The Wicked Witch of the East, because that was not in the original soundtrack. I mean, it was always on stage, but it's not a song you could just listen to. Like, you have to go to YouTube to listen to it. Yeah,
so, which we do regularly.
Which we do sometimes. But I was so excited because even Stephen Schwartz said on his commentary for the album, he's like, it's here. Like, we're adding it. It's going to be in there. And I was super excited. I was like, this is going to be so good. This is the first time it's accessible. I'm excited to see it. I'm excited to listen to it. And then I saw it and I was like,
it's okay.
That really didn't hit it for me. Like,
and I think there's something to say for, and this is the Broadway movie curse, is you need actors, and not the actors will never touch even a touring cast.
Yeah.
Like even the touring casts are like
amazing,
phenomenal,
amazing. And the reason I was so excited for that scene in the movie was because when we saw it on stage together in 2023, I was like, this is so good. Like, I forgot about this song because it isn't a song that's on the original soundtrack. And so when you see it on stage, you're like, the girl who played Nessa on stage, she was amazing. And I remember looking at you in that scene, and you were even like,
we were like,
wow. Like, she did that so good. Like, she was really talented. And then the movie, I feel like it was a little...
just underwhelming.
It was very underwhelming. And it wasn't as tense, I think, because they dragged it out.
Yeah.
Like, in the musical, it is like all like they changed the song, and in the musical, it's all one segment of a song. Yeah. And in the musical, they're like, well, we're gonna talk a little bit, and then we're gonna sing a little bit, and then we're gonna talk a little bit. And like, the tension isn't really. It needs to be growing because, spoiler alert, Bach, who in my opinion is objectively the worst character in Wicked. Dude. Bach is the worst. Granted, that doesn't excuse Nessa. I mean, Nessa didn't end up treating him right either, but he is,
and they do.
Bach is not my favorite character.
Also, great casting for Bach, because he also sucks.
Jackson, that is not nice. I'm sorry. But no, so
he had an affair on that movie. Like
he did.
I can't. Anyway,
that is true.
We'll talk about the cast in a minute as we wrap up.
Yeah, but so his character was just like, you know, if you know the story, like, he becomes a Tin Man, which is fitting and is intentional. Yes, because he is heartless. He is literally heartless, and that was the thing. Like, his whole transformation was he finally. It's like the apex of their relationship ending, because she was like, you've lost your heart to Glinda, and you're heartless because you didn't even he didn't even tell her that. I mean, Nessa didn't have a great childhood either. Like, Elphaba definitely didn't, and Nessa didn't either. So the fact that he was like leading her on and doing that the whole time, and she had suspicion
for 5 years.
I know, that's what made it so much worse. I was like, 5 years? Dude. Bro, like, you liked Glinda the whole time, and so I don't like that part. Made it a little less believable to me, honestly, when I found that out. But I'm like, he got turned into the Tin Man, and that was Elphaba saving him. By the way, she didn't do that to be malicious. She actually was saving his life because Nessa started,
flipping out.
Just watch the movie, you'll see. But that was one thing, that whole scene I was so excited to see, because that's the first time you see one of the original Wizard of Oz characters transforming.
And I think he looked amazing.
Yeah, in the movie it was great. So, and that whole scene, like, it was super intense. And of course, Bach becomes this angry, awful Tin Man who was heartless, and it fits the character. But it just, in the movie, it didn't do it.
Hit. I think you've like really hit the nail on the head. Like, the tension is not there,
right?
And I think that's
didn't
the
grow.
Key
it didn't build as it should have.
And so
we're on stage; it's constantly building.
Yeah, And so I think I think they could have cut like 20 minutes from that movie to make the tension, because it's already 2 hours 15 long.
Yeah, and they added. Now I will say I do like this
Place Like
song.
Home.
No Place Like Home.
Really good.
Of the 2 songs they added, I was also nervous, but I wasn't too nervous honestly, because I was like, if Steven Schwartz is doing
there, we're
it's gonna be
fine.
fantastic.
Right.
It's great. So I wasn't worried about that, but No Place Like Home is one of my new favorite. Honestly, the songs I listen to the most now after the movie came out is No Good Deed, because it's amazing.
Right.
And No Place Like Home, which is surprising, even more than For Good or another
I thought
song.
that was a really good tie-in to The Wizard of Oz. That was really sweet. It was justified.
Pays a homage to the original story of Dorothy's line.
Agree.
And it also added, this is one thing that was good about the sequel, it added to the story, because in the stage production, because it's so much happens, it's so fast,
quick.
You don't really realize how bad the animals are being treated. Like, you know they're being treated bad. It's kind of the point. So you don't miss that point.
But it's very contextual.
Yeah, but there's a lot you don't see. You only really see the professor who gets taken away, and the lion and the monkeys. But you don't see how all of the animals of Oz are being affected by what the wizard is doing. So that song was sweet because, again, I think if a musical is done right, you don't just tell a story and then pause and then just sing a song.
Yeah.
That's not how musicals work.
Right.
They shouldn't work.
No.
I
Right.
should say. Musicals, when you tell a story in a musical, the song is telling the story.
It
should be continuing the story, and the story should be moving
should be
along
fluid.
as you're singing. Now, that song, I think, did a really good job of that, because as she's singing, she's saying, this is why I'm fighting for this now, considering this is a few years later. And 2, it's also showing what's happening with the animals. And we got a scene we didn't get in the original of, wow, they really are running away. This is a big deal. The wizard isn't just a quirky con artist. He's actually like really not kind,
like
and evil guy, like
government leader.
Yeah, and
manipulative.
So very manipulative. And, I think they also added to the attention because of Dulcibert, who was
a great
if you remember in the
connection.
first movie, Dulcibert was someone who's kind of her friend as her child. It was basically like her mother she never
raised
had.
Her, yeah.
And the fact that you see Dulcibert trying to get away from Oz, it was like, oh, like, this is
so
bad.
precious,
Like, this is really bad. And it's personally affecting Elphaba. Because those were the people who were kind to her where no one else really was. So that kind of added to the emotion. Now, I will say, a girl in a bubble. Is that right? Yeah.
It's okay. I didn't feel like I needed it.
I don't think that song, I don't want to missay this and say it didn't move the story along, but it did feel more like the song where you're like, we're telling a story, we're going to pause and sing a song because we just want to, and then move on. It didn't.
Yeah.
Glenda's already guilty. You know that she feels
I felt
bad.
like it was more just to be like well-rounded. We're like, well, we gave Elphaba another song, so
we got to give one to
needs
Glenda.
one.
Yeah. And
which sucks because the sequence was probably my favorite sequence in the movie.
Oh,
like the
in the
mirrors
film,
and stuff. Because I saw the cinematographer did an interview about it, and it was because they shot, and this is just this production schedule just blows my mind, and this is why I love the first one so much. They shot both movies in tandem. So
back to back?
No, like they were scheduled as if they were one movie. And so she said,
wow.
like, the
That's
Excel
wild.
sheet for that is probably off the charts. But, like, she said that the first thing they filmed was Popular.
Huh.
And the second thing they filmed was Girl in the Bubble.
Really? Like for Ariana?
Yes. And my thought is
Wow.
it was probably like a costume thing.
Maybe so.
And also, their sets aren't like... They always reuse sets. That's like how TV and movies work. So like Severance, season 2 opener, he's running through the hallway. That was shot over 3 months because their hallways weren't always constructed at the same time.
Interesting.
And so it was
that
probably...
would be so hard
it's
to do,
so
like
confusing.
the most like perky, like fun part, like funniest song to like one of the saddest
ones. And she talked about how It's a true oneer. They shot it the in and out of mirrors. It was one take in and out of the mirrors.
I did think that was cool.
impressive.
I forgot about
and
that.
she said
she's
that
standing in front
she
of it.
did it with like her kids' toy mirrors and then like another one that was hers, and she brought it to their production meeting and they like blocked the whole thing out with like the toy mirrors.
Wow.
I was like, that's so
cool.
fun. And I was like, I wish the song justified
yeah,
the
I wish
filmmaking.
the song was a little better. I'll be real. I don't think that was like
super
a
necessary.
singing thing. It just
But
felt
then,
the
like,
song felt underwhelming.
But also like No Good Deed, 10 out of 10.
It was great.
I mean, she just bodied that song. We know
See,
she would.
I feel like Glinda's reflection song and why I felt like Girl in the Bubble wasn't super necessary was because of I Couldn't Be Happier.
Yeah, she already had one.
She already had her song.
So like,
at
why
the
did we
beginning.
need to add that one?
Because that was her song, and you know she's not happy.
That's the point
but
of the
she's
story,
pretending to
dog.
be. That's the whole point.
Yeah.
And so it's like,
And it's little things like this that add up to make the second one not as enjoyable as the first. It just doesn't hit as hard.
And yeah, you just have to remember that. And also, you know, I remember finding out that Fiyero was the Scarecrow later, like on stage, because he just came out and you're like, whoa,
Holy
that's
crap,
crazy.
yeah.
And again, that was something also where I felt the tension was more intense on stage, because on the stage production, they had the scene where, you know, Glinda and Elphaba, they're like pointing their wands at or not their wands, the broomstick and then the wand at each other, and they're fighting each other. There's all this tension, and they're mad because Glinda's like, "You took my man, girl," and like,
was
all
that
this
scene
stuff.
supposed to be funny?
Oh, on stage it was funny. You laughed.
Okay.
Yeah, and even on the
You
movie,
remember that so much better than I did.
Well, and in the movie they do that, and it is funny because they're like, she starts like hitting each other, and they're still friends, but they obviously like.
It's just like
there's some tension.
It's a petty fight. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like a petty girl fight.
Yeah.
like slap fight. It's like, you took my man.
Right.
So, you know, they're fighting.
snatch,
And
yeah.
then the soldiers come. And of course, Fiyero points his gun at Glinda. And that's when you're like,
Holy crap,
like
yeah.
he really turned on her. But then they drag him away, which you don't necessarily know on stage and realize, but they're taking him to the cornfield?
Yeah.
Cornfield?
Cornfield?
Corn?
Cornfield. It's Kansas. We'll say
Sure, let's
cornfield.
go with corn. I'm
Yeah.
blanking out on what field, but basically like a field out in Oz somewhere.
You know, they're going to take
And
him out
they're
back.
beating him to death.
They're
Like
gonna
they're
take him out
literally
back.
killing him. And
Yeah.
in that scene, Elphaba runs away
Yeah.
on stage super fast. And then, you know, Glinda goes up to him and is like, I know he loves her. And she basically lets him go. But then they take him away and drag Glinda away. And she's screaming and she says,
Yeah.
like, Fiyero. And she like yells. And while she's yelling that, she's pulled off stage. And then Elphaba comes out of the middle of the floor screaming Fiyero too,
Yeah.
because she knows that they're dragging him away to kill him.
Yeah.
And then she starts singing No Good Deed.
Yes.
And doing the spell to save him,
Yeah.
basically. And that scene is so tense because it happens like boom, boom, boom. Like the tension is so high again. And then in the movie, it's like, oh, there's this little tension. And oh, this kind of goes in and out. And like it becomes no good deed. And you're seeing it, what's happening. But honestly, like, you don't know on stage what's happening because it's just no good deed. So you're like, did he live or not?
Right.
Like, you don't know.
Right.
And she's distraught as if she doesn't. So then you don't really know if he lived or not.
Yeah. It's like a dramatic irony thing.
Yeah.
That like shouldn't be there.
Yeah.
And I liked the No Good Deed sequence, and I liked how it flashed back, and I like how it like connected the whole
and in
piece
a movie
together.
you can do that because you can't do that on stage.
And that's really good. But also like montage and flashback just in film, I've always seen as a cop out, as like so you don't know how to write a story that like reminds me of things, so you're just gonna show it.
Yeah.
And I'm like that. I feel like
we know what happens.
Right, we know. Like,
we've been there.
Wrap it up, buddy.
Yeah. It felt, and when the movie, I remember being like, we know this but again, I do know the story.
But I'm also but also as a super fan, you're like, well, you don't want you want it to be accessible because this is the movie version, but it's just a whole thing. Unless you have anything else to add. I think we're ready to wrap up
I think
our
so.
discussion on Wicked. Guys, thank you so much for listening to this episode of the Nerdiest Podcast. Thank you, Amy, for being our esteemed guest.
Thanks for having me.
Of course. We'll bring you back.
I finally got the wife privilege
We'll bring
to be
you
on,
back
so
as soon as possible. Next time we do Clone Wars or something, or next
you have
time
to. That means you'll have to watch Clone
No,
Wars.
I know.
So maybe when that happens, I'll be
been a
back.
behind-the-scenes champion because most of the movies that we cover on the show, she has sat and watched with me.
Yes, it is true.
Good and bad.
I can thank
So-
the Nerdiest podcast for the reason I like K-pop Demon Hunters.
Yes,
because Jack's like, I have to watch this for a podcast, and I was like, I would literally watch anything else. I
like,
was
this is
like,
not
as
it.
someone who's like I'm not an anime person, and I don't know a thing about K-pop at all, like at all. Couldn't tell you
Right.
anything. Is Gangnam Style K-pop?
Yes, it is.
Then I know that. That's
Yes.
all I know.
I'm pretty sure Gundam Style,
is like
sold,
Gangnam Style.
like sealed the Golden Han Moon. Like,
Okay, I do know that. I know that.
Yeah.
But I genuinely, and then we watched it, and I was like the
Yeah,
first
this
10
is-
minutes, I was like, I can't take this. Like,
Yeah,
you
this is
have to turn
insane.
it off. And then I ended up sticking with it because
Yeah.
I'm not a quitter. And so
Yeah.
it's like, we'll watch it. It's fine.
Yeah.
And then I loved it. And now I
Yeah.
know, like, it's probably one of my most listened to albums of the
Mhm.
year. So,
there you go.
Thanks, Nerdiest Podcast,
Hey,
for
thanks,
that.
Nerdiest Podcast. And thank you for listening. If you like what we do here, give us 5 stars on whatever platform you're listening to. Watch video versions on YouTube, subscribe on YouTube. All the links are in the description down below. And we will see you for our last episode of the year. Crazy.
Wow.
Next time. Thank you very much. Until then, bye.